All right, everyone, welcome to the One Podcast. Today we have Dr. Terra Winston with us, and I am excited to listen to her to learn more about health and wellness. You take this very naturopathic approach to health and wellness, embodying the physical, emotional, spiritual, all of that. What made you want to go on this path? You've been on this path for 8 years. Tell us your story.
Yeah, I feel like I've been on this path my whole life.
Okay.
And it's funny because people always ask, how did you get into natural medicine? And it chose me. It just chose me. I'll have friends and family, people that are close to me. They're like, you're so perfect. You live your life so perfectly in terms of my health
Okay.
because I don't deviate from my diet and I just have really high standards for everything from what I put on my skin to my clothes that I wear. And I tell them it's great. And yes, I'm very grateful for that and that I have these standards in my life. But the truth is, I can't not. Like, I am just that sensitive person. I make these choices because I have to.
Yeah.
And when you have to, it becomes really easy to make the choices that are best for you. So,
What do you mean by clue us in a little bit on that. You have to, and you've always been this way. Ever since you were a child, you were aware of these things.
yeah.
Teach us about that. That's
So,
interesting.
yeah. So, the short of it is when I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
like 6 years old, I have this memory. I have this like doctor's kit, like the play
Okay.
school little thing. And I would just, anyone who would let me doctor them, I would doctor them. Fake band-aids. I would hand out little cake frosting
Oh,
decoration as like pills and things
I
like
know.
that.
I
And it was
know.
just I loved it.
Mhm.
And I knew I wanted to be a doctor and that was my path.
You were on it.
I was on it. And then in high school and through a series of events, but basically I started to have gut issues and gut
Oh,
issues run in my family. So I have a long history of celiac disease and lactose intolerance and all kinds of ulcerative colitis, things like that.
yeah.
And so I was aware of it before it was popular to be aware of it.
Okay.
But the medical system at the time, for me in my 12, 13, 14-year-old age, they were just, we don't know. The tests aren't coming back positive. I don't know how to help you. Like, good luck. And
Right.
their solution was here's some antidepressant pills. And
Lovely.
yeah, and even at that age, I was, no, I don't resonate with being depressed. I resonate with having a stomach ache.
Yeah. Pain here, not here. Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. And they're
Okay.
like, we don't know why, but sometimes it works. Fast forward to now, like I understand now why an antidepressant helps with gut pain,
Oh.
but they missed the point entirely. Like that,
Mhm.
yeah, there was like a story that needed to be told in between. So,
Definitely.
yeah, I actually at that point was, I'm not doing medicine anymore. It's not for me. I, if all they actually have to give me are pills and they have no explanation as to why they work, then this doesn't call to my soul anymore. And so I started looking for other ways and I got really interested in nutrition. And it was actually after having graduated college and deciding that I wanted to get a master's in nutrition that I actually even discovered naturopathic medicine. And it was this serendipity moment where this is what I've been searching for my entire life and I didn't even know it existed.
So your pain ends up leading to your purpose.
Yep.
There's this thing, and I love that because it happens in all of our lives. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. And it's just funny because every single skill that I've learned, every single training that I've taken has essentially been a huge part of my journey, but then it's also made me a better doctor for my clients. And
Yes.
for those who know human design, I'm a 1-3, and it's that is my design. I'm designed to focus on me and then share my wisdom
Yes.
with the world.
Yes.
So,
So, what was the shift you made about 8 years ago? I remember reading that's when you really went into more of the natural focus. What happened around your birthday-ish?
yeah, 8 years ago, 30 was a big year for me. So, the day I turned 30 was
Okay.
actually my very first official day as a licensed practitioner in clinic.
Oh, that's so exciting. That's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So you're
yeah,
like,
it was a
it's
big deal. And
official.
then I did this sort of like hybrid internship, if you
Mhm.
will, or
Mhm.
I was a contracted employee in a clinic with four other doctors, and it was a
Okay.
very high volume, fast paced insurance funded clinic where we were treating really sick people, like Lyme disease, chronic infectious disease, autoimmune cancer, things like that.
Mhm.
And it was a sink or swim situation. My mentor, that basically the doctor that hired me, was, I want you to mentor with me. And then when I go on leave, I want you to see my clients and I'll help you. Well,
Oh,
she had a bad reaction. She had a surgery. She had a really bad reaction to the surgery and was just gone for 6 months.
oh,
So, yeah. So, as like a baby doctor with 3 months of experience, I had an entire full patient load, and it was either make it work or you're out. And so I feel like I had a trial by fire, and it just gave me the confidence to then at this point move into my own practice
mm.
and really feel like I can support clients my way.
And like Melanie says, leaders are bridges and bridges are tested. So you literally were thrown to the fire. I love that you said that's what gave me the confidence. I think how we look at the little lessons and how they actually end up being so important for who we become as we follow our life's mission.
Mhm.
So then you started branching into that, and you are the founder of the Earth Naturopathic Wellness Center.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Tell us
Yeah.
about how that evolved. How did that all come to be?
Yeah. I remember when I was in school, having this vision of, I just want a place where people can come and have all of it. Like, I want a place where there's acupuncture, a massage, a naturopathic medicine, and they can do IV therapy, and they can do regenerative injections, and like anything that they need to actually heal. Because I'm really focused on wellness. Like, we cultivate wellness. We
Yes.
don't manage disease. Like, I have no interest in managing your disease. I don't want you to stay
Such a
diseased.
difference.
Yeah.
Such an important distinction.
Yeah.
Cultivating wellness, not managing pain and sickness. Let's get ahead of it every single time. You won't have this if we're focused on this.
Yep.
But if we're
Yeah.
in this, we can turn it around to get it back to wellness. Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because just the linguistics of it, like dis-ease. The first time I saw that broken down, I was like, light bulb, like dis-ease. We put so much power in this, but all it is a lack of ease.
I hope people hear that. Do you hear that? If you haven't, because I remember the first time I ever heard that was, I think, with Joe Dispenza. And I
Yeah.
was, oh my gosh, how have I never thought of that? Every disease, we say disease, is dis-ease. There isn't ease in your body. There isn't ease in your mind. There isn't ease in your mindset, in your heart, in your emotions. So something is off, which then causes a result, which we call diseases and all of that. Oh, so, yeah, keep going. Sorry, I got
Yeah.
excited.
No, you're okay. You're totally fine. I love it. Yeah. Gosh, I don't even know where to go. I was in this very hybrid, but very like conventional model for those
Mhm.
first 4 years. And I was learning, I was growing, I was studying, I was seeing people, I was helping people, but
Mhm.
it felt like there was this group of people that got results. And
Yeah.
then there was a group of people that did not get results. It was like they were constantly coming in year after year. I was there for 4 years, and there were people that had been there getting IVs 3 times a week before I started to still doing it when I left. And I'm like, why are they not getting better?
Right.
Same treatments, completely different results. And when I decided to leave that clinic, and that's a whole other story that we can probably save for another time, I was like, I want to really focus in on the people who got results because I want the clinic that I open to be results driven. And I realized it was the simplest of things. It was the foundations. Those people that weren't getting better were willing to do all the crazy wild stuff. They were willing to do IV antibiotics 3 times a week. They were willing to take 3,000 supplements, but they weren't willing to do the foundational work of relieving the stress in the body, relieving the whatever the blockage was. They weren't willing to change their diet. They weren't willing to move out of their moldy house. They weren't willing to leave their relationship that was toxic. They wouldn't quit their job that they hated. So
Wow.
easy.
Yeah. But it seems hard because people are so afraid of what comes across as big change. And, but it can be little changes. I love to work with clients and take it down to, okay, micro shifts.
Mhm.
Ultimately, it leads to the big change. And some of us can embody big change right away. Your instincts are already telling you this relationship is not good for me. My house doesn't feel fresh and clean. I'm always stressed out at work. but I just don't see another option, or this is so easy. And yet your body is telling you in all sorts of ways, in every way that it can, I am not happy. This is not good
Yeah.
for us. I love
Yeah.
it.
I tell people symptoms are messengers.
Oh, so true.
Anytime you have a symptom, it's just your body telling you that what you're doing is not working. And I actually have a deeper philosophy, which is, and the more I study gene keys and human design, I don't think this is just a philosophy. I think this is truth.
Oh,
It's that I believe that we were given a specific genetic imprint, and we talk about genetics and epigenetics and how we can switch things on and off. But I truly believe that our DNA is God's roadmap for our success in life.
mm,
And when we start to express a symptom, it's God saying, you took a wrong turn. You got to go turn around, go back, do something different, course correct. And the
yeah.
longer we ignore that, the more the symptoms build because this higher force is just trying to say, stop, you're going
Yes.
the wrong direction.
I want to reemphasize that for anybody who's listening or watching. Our DNA is God's roadmap. And if you don't believe in God, the universe, whatever you believe in, it's God's roadmap to our success. That's brilliant. I really like that. That, and you're so right. Your body is consistently trying to let you know, okay, this is working or this isn't. We've got something going on here. I'm trying to tell you. So your DNA is trying to work in your behalf. And so you decided, okay, I'm leaving, I'm starting my own with the proper foundations. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, just with a focus on foundations. What
Oh,
I saw, honestly, as the biggest limiting factor were those who were so bought into the insurance model that they were, I'm not doing anything that's outside of that.
mm-hmm.
And that, it makes me so sad because I believe that it's a whole conventional medical system problem that I really hope is going to change over the next 4 years. We can hope and pray.
Yeah.
But that system is built on disease management. And as
Yes.
long as that's the intention, that's what they're going to do, which means that's what insurance funds. So
Right.
when we talk about actually healing and wellness and a lot of the things that have to be done, honestly, even personal development is like a huge piece of healing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's not going to be covered by insurance. And I don't use a lot of specialty labs. I really don't believe in it, but there's one specialty evaluation that I think is a complete game changer.
Mhm.
And it's not covered by insurance because it's not even recognized by the medical system as something. It's a naturopathic, old school modality that we've been using for hundreds of years. They just
Right.
don't even see it as real.
So sad. I've recognized that over the years too, that there is such a shift into let's get the discussion focused on before we're having problems, before there appears to be things that can't be changed, before a disease is taking over your body, before you're hospitalized. There are little signals happening all the time, your body talking to you. And I love that you have found ways of getting that conversation going ahead of time. So, on your path specifically that you're doing this, what keeps you going? Is it the satisfaction of knowing? Is it being able to see it with your clients? I can feel if it was me, I would be, oh my gosh, I'm literally saving lives. But that's hard to tell when you're getting them before there's even the symptoms. You're getting them before there's like a terminal illness that you completely turned around, but you know it like in your soul. I'm pretty,
So I see what you're saying. I understand
yeah,
your question,
yeah.
but and I wish it worked that way, but it doesn't because the truth is people don't seek out most people. Right? There's
Mm.
always an exception to the rule, but most people don't seek out care until there is a problem.
Until there is. You're so
And
right.
we're just not wired that way. And
Right.
if they are seeking out something, those are usually the people that are in personal development and they're
Yes.
like, how do I optimize my mind? How do I
Yeah.
but those people are rare and
Mhm.
they don't usually end up in my office. If anything, they'll buy a food intolerance evaluation because they want the knowledge,
Mhm.
they want the tools. But I do work with people who basically, like me, didn't know that something like this even existed. And so they were in the conventional system. And then a friend of a friend told them, or they stumbled on something and they're like, oh, so there's actually another alternative out there. So I can think of a story recently, a few months ago, I got to see a family of three. So it was two sisters and then one of their husbands.
Okay.
And they all three had diabetes, type 2 diabetes,
Mhm.
really uncontrolled.
Yeah.
Most of them were on six or more different medications. And every time they would go to the doctor for their 3 month blood draw, their sugars were going up, up. And the only solution was to increase their medications or add another one.
Oh my gosh.
And in all the years, they were never given any dietary guidance. They were never given any instructions on how to exercise. And it's just simply a lack of belief in personal power and a lack of knowledge because, again, from a conventional perspective, they're taught to manage disease. So they have no invested interest in curing someone. They just want to make sure that they're going to continue buying the six medications for the rest of their life. And it's actually incentivized, which is really sad.
Really sad because it is manage disease, not cure it,
Yeah.
manage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that we don't know. So you go, they give you the one medication, it's not working. Okay, we'll try this other one. Okay, maybe your body has intolerance to that. Try this other one. I can't imagine being on six medications and it's still not working.
Yeah. And thousands of dollars in copays, even with insurance. And
Right.
that's the other thing. So people think naturopathic medicine is expensive because a lot of us don't take insurance. In some states, we can't. We can here, but I choose not to now.
Yeah.
But the truth is, these three clients saved so much money, like
Right.
basically immediately, because within 2 weeks, they were seeing progress in their sugars. They were coming down on, they actually had to reduce their insulin. And
Wow.
by the 3 month checkup, they were off of two-thirds of their medications and on the 40 pounds lost each. It was in 3 months. And
That's so great.
this is not me saying you can never eat any
Don't
treats ever
ever.
again. Like you have to now only eat chicken and broccoli. It's not like that.
No.
Like they were having no complaints about the diet they were following. They were exercising and loving it. They were all in a better mood. They were so grateful. It's simple. It's that leap of faith.
Right. It's coming back from what's conventional and seems easy. And you're right. If you do have insurance and you only have to come up with a copay, then it just seems this is less expensive. And this is what I've been told. Go to the doctor for that. I really want people to think about, is it logical to not be willing to spend any amount of money that is going to make your body better and your mind and your heart and your emotions? Think about that for a second, because if your body and your mind and your emotions and your heart are not well, everything is affected. So I would think, in my opinion, that should be our number one priority with our money. And yet nobody talks about that either. Oh, it's just
Yeah.
so expensive to go to a doctor that doesn't carry insurance. But really weigh that out for a minute. How much do we spend on our cars and our cell phones and whatever? This is the body that's carrying you around forever. So we should be setting aside lots of money. And then if you're already doing this type of work, you actually won't need all of that money that you've set aside because you'll be taking
Exactly.
care of yourself. There's rewards to wellness.
Exactly.
This. Okay.
Yep.
So do you take clients? What do you recommend for clients that aren't near you? Let's say someone in France is hearing about this or someone in Sweden. Like, what is the beginning steps that you would recommend for someone who has never heard of this but is nowhere near you?
Yeah. I have actually a virtual wellness piece of my practice as well. And so I would start with a membership that I created last year that I'm continuing to build out, but it's called Flourish.
Flourish. I saw that. I wrote that down. I love it. Tell us all
Yeah,
about it.
so inside of Flourish, I think right now there's maybe 6 or 7 different master classes,
Okay.
one on metabolism. So this is where I
Ooh,
would say if you are trying to lose weight or you do have diabetes or something like that and you want to get on top of it, this is what I teach my clients.
yeah.
It's not like I teach the same thing to every person over and over again.
Yes.
So I was like, how can I package this in a way where someone who isn't near me or doesn't have the money to make the investment
Yeah.
into working with me one on one, but still wants the knowledge? Like this membership is $88 a month. There's no way anyone can say that they can't
Right.
do this. At this point, all you're investing is your time and energy. And if you can't invest your time and energy into yourself, you're probably not ready to do it anyway. Because, like you said, I fully believe that I'm my greatest asset.
Yeah.
I can either spend my time and energy building relationships and wealth and ignoring my health, because we think our three pillars, relationships, health, and wealth,
Yeah.
and then spend all of my all of my wealth and sacrifice all of my relationships trying to regain my health later on. Or I can focus on my health first and foremost. And then from that solid foundation, I build my wealth and my relationships on top.
So true. And if it even crossed your mind when she said $88 a month, I would like you to rewind 15, 20 seconds, a minute back there. What amount of money? $88 a month. That's less than our cable bills. So to really be able to educate yourself on what I could be doing right now to have longevity, to have happiness, to have health, to wake up without pain, to wake up without headaches, or especially gut issues. I mean, I love a good donut. Don't get me wrong. I've loved sweets my whole life, but I've woken up with gut issues and nobody likes that. That ruins your whole day. So I think that is a great $88 Flourish membership. That's fantastic. And there's master classes. And then you also offer one-on-one. Tell us a little bit about that. So they don't
Yeah.
need to be local to work with you one-on-one, everyone around the world. Keep going.
Yeah. I do virtual consults. I do
Okay.
virtual consults, and it looks a little different versus if someone is in state. So if you're in Washington State and potentially someday Arizona, I'm working on potentially getting licensed
I'm in
there.
Arizona. Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Mesa. We would love to have you here. Come.
Yes. And so that the only difference there is that like my ability to order labs, like physically
Oh,
order the labs
that makes
and then
sense.
write prescriptions. So
Mhm.
if you're in Washington or potentially someday soon Arizona, I can write prescriptions. If there is, say, a thyroid disorder, or I'm a realist. I do things naturally as often as possible, but my dad got pneumonia 2 weeks ago, and I was so thankful that I could give him IV antibiotics because he's 73. I don't think
Right.
he would have made it without all of that,
Oh
you
my
know?
gosh. Yeah.
So I'm a realist and I like having those prescriptions, but I can still counsel, and 99% of what I do does not need a medication. And also the labs are often just for like for our information so that I can say, here, see objectively what's happening. Let's track this.
Yeah.
Because some of my recommendations are non-conventional and people will have questions about them. And it's nice to have the lab data that actually shows, yes,
Back it up.
you say you're feeling better. It's true. Your labs are also showing that you feel better, even
I
if
think
it's,
that that's so great. And we're both not saying there's not a place for medicine. There's not a place for typical doctors and hospitals, and especially with some of your serious things, we're not saying that. I don't take hardly any medication ever, but I got strep throat about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and oh my sweet Jesus. It was so awful. It was so awful. And it was the first time I've gotten antibiotics in I don't even know how long. And within 24 to 48 hours, that pain, oh, it was like heaven. And I had tried everything I could. I was in Mexico, so I was trying to get my hands on anything I could to soothe it. And I really had such appreciation in that moment for modern medicine because I just couldn't avoid it. So I
yeah,
love there's always that place, but let's try and help ahead of time to get these things going. You can do local, you can do one-on-one.
yeah.
Ultimately, you would love to have lab work done for it. And then you also offer this membership.
I also do this unique thing every once in a while. It hasn't come
Yeah.
up recently, but every once in a while I'll do a doctor to doctor consult where
Ooh,
you bring your doctor on and we have like a three-way conversation. And I say
yeah.
what I would do. And then I can also talk to that doctor in a little bit more colleague to colleague type way and say, here's what you monitor. And then they understand that and there's less go between.
Oh, I like it.
Um, but yeah, I for my clients that are not here, I have a couple from Texas that actually like flies out once a year so that I can see them in person. But when they're not here, I just tell them what labs to get, and then they go to the lab and they
Oh,
do the
smart.
self-order
Yeah.
cash pay or whatever.
Yep.
So there's ways around a lot of that. But there was something you said that I wanted to comment.
It'll come if I start talking, it'll pop back in.
Yeah,
Love it. And so you've created a membership. And then for people that are a little nervous or don't want to jump right into a membership, you do have some good free resources on your website too, right? And that's
yeah,
drtarawinston.com.
yeah.
Okay,
Yep, I have a blog that I put out
good.
not all that often anymore, if I'm being honest, but I go
Yeah.
through spurts. I'm a Manny Gen full on. So I'll have a spurt, I'll put out 4 blogs in a month, and then I won't touch one for 5 months. But there's
So
a
we
good
are,
blog series on there. And then
okay.
I do free master classes every few months,
Yeah.
usually. And I have one that's still available. It's called Energized and Empowered. I'll make
Ooh,
sure the link is there. I'm actually in process of switching my whole website, so there's a
okay.
little bit of
Lag
stuff
time.
going on, but
Yeah.
um, yeah. And then my Instagram. I'm probably
Instagram.
most active on Instagram. So if you're
Okay.
looking for live videos, little riffs, certain information on posts, or like just a place to follow along and see what
Yeah.
I'm up to and when I'm going to release a masterclass, Instagram would be the place to connect.
And is that a Dr. Tara Winston too? Perfect.
Yeah, so
With
just at,
two R's. Yes.
yep, TERRA like Earth, and it's DR. So
Okay.
drtarawinston.com.
I like it. Okay, so that's the website. And then Instagram is your favorite of your social medias, which we love Instagram. This is great. And then, so if you could give best piece of advice to someone who's brand new to all of this, something they could absolutely, two or three things that they could absolutely start today that could at least begin that path for them.
Yeah. I think before I do that, there was one thing I wanted to say.
Yes,
Just claiming your personal power. Because
mhm.
I think so often in medicine, we have this like authoritarian type view of my doctor is my keeper, and I'm
Right.
going to go to my doctor and they're going to tell me what I need to do. And we project this, you can fix me energy, and we remove ourselves from the equation. And in reality, only you know your body best.
Yeah.
Only you ultimately knows what's going to work for you. And I do my best to honor my clients and say, I'm here to give you information. I'm here
Yeah.
to help you make the best decision for you. But ultimately, the decisions that you make about your health are on you. I cannot make your decisions for you. Just own your power, because the
Yes.
more you get into this, I can't do it because someone told me I couldn't. My doctor told me this was not curable. I just don't agree with that 99% of the time. There's certain situations where it's, yeah, of course, if you have type 1 diabetes, like good luck regrowing your beta cells. Probably just not going to happen. But you can still have well balanced blood sugar. You don't need to go down this slippery slope of
Yeah.
being in pain and suffering and having more autoimmunities pop up all the time. But most of the time, our bodies are plastic and they're very healable. So if you consult with somebody that doesn't quite resonate, or they're trying to tell you that there's nothing that can be done, go interview a bunch more physicians or find some more helpers. It doesn't always have to be a doctor. There's room for I have some amazing acupuncturists that are in my
Yes.
clinic, and they are phenomenal. There's things that they can get on top of before I can even get on top of it. The
Remember mine.
distinction between using conventional medicine, which is like any time we use medication or anything. So what I always tell people is that we're looking for healing, right? We're looking for resolution. What we
Hmm.
don't want, or what we want to use as little as possible and with as much intention as possible, is the band-aid.
Yeah. Ah.
So I want to tell people we're here at A and we want to get to C, and so we're going to use B as a bridge to get there.
Ooh, that's good.
And sometimes in the moment, that's great, but I need relief in the moment. I'm like, perfect. Here's a band-aid. Let's slap on it. We're still on our way to C. You're going to work
Yes.
through that. And it's okay to use the band-aid along the way.
Yeah.
The part where it gets sticky that I see people get stuck in the conventional system a little bit is that the only tools the doctors have are band-aids. And so they're
Right.
just constantly slapping the band-aid on, saying, this is as good as we can do. Let's just hope it doesn't get worse.
And it's not as good as we can do, but, and as you were saying, claim your power back, both of those things combined. The foundation of everything I do is trying to get people to really reconnect and listen to and follow their intuition all the time. And I think so many of us have disconnected or not given enough credit to our intuition because it is always talking to us, but sometimes the intuitive nudges are not things that we want to hear or things that we want to do. We know how to take better care of ourselves most of the time. It's just, okay, I definitely could use more sleep. Do I create a lifestyle that allows me more sleep? No, I don't. And I don't prioritize it. And then I just go about my day and whatever. So I know, and my brain will tell me, get more sleep. Today you need more sleep, but I'll have a million other things I'll do.
Yeah.
But I think it's key in the smaller things, like you were saying too. you're going to plan to go see a doctor. Your intuition is telling you, yes, this is a good fit, or no, it's not. Or you've seen three doctors and they're all telling you the same thing, but your intuition is saying, no, no, keep going, keep digging, keep asking. There's something. We're always being led. And I think that you are taking your power back by listening to your intuition and listening to your body. And I firmly believe, especially with our bodies, it's not trying to make you be in pain. It's trying to tell you something is wrong. I'm not being cared for the way I need to be. I remember, and I don't know if this will help anyone, years ago, I was so critical. I think for women, it's so easy to be critical, especially as we age. And I was in my late 40s, and I finally, this one day, was standing in the mirror thinking, you know what? In my beliefs, I am a soul inside this body, and I pick this body apart all the time. I could do it right now on this Zoom call. I could find all these little flaws. And yet, this body, fueled by donuts and sugar for many years, has taken such great care of me all the time. So I started to just see myself as a separate entity of my body so I would be kinder to it. And like, why would I be so mean? Why wouldn't I be more grateful for how well it has cared for me, how it's taken me everywhere, carried me everywhere? It flourishes even when I'm not feeding it properly or giving it enough sleep. And I think to really first sit with, how lucky am I, if you are healthy, to be healthy? And
Yeah.
then when something does signal, and signals come quickly before you get little nudges. Hey, that doesn't feel so good the first time you eat it. Oh, I'm going to keep on eating it all the time. Or this isn't making you feel rested. There are always, your body's always talking to you. Your intuition is always guiding you. And then there are times where you know you should be doing something different, and your intuition is telling you over and over again, you just don't want to do. So I do think it is owning that power, adding on to what you said. Like, I am the first go to for myself, but am I truly honoring what my intuition is saying? And then am I going to act on what I know I should be doing? And then when I don't know what I should be doing, can I continue to seek? Take the nudges, take the nuggets of advice from the ones that you run into, but seek until you find the one that resonates with you on how to care for yourself. I love
Yeah.
that.
And I feel like you said a few things in there, but I feel like there's this place for us to be really gentle with ourselves because
Mhm.
I think we should on ourselves a lot.
All the time.
And it's like I could say the same thing about my finances. I should be putting more into my savings account every month. I should be moving more into my IRA or whatever, but
Yeah.
I'm not because I'm spending it on this and that. And same with our health. It's you don't have to prioritize your sleep, but I
Hmm.
think of it as a tool that you can always return back to. Like when the suffering gets bad enough, when my bank
Hmm.
account gets low enough, I'll start
Yes.
saving. And when I am feeling yucky enough, then I return back to the tools and I have the same clients conversations over and over again where I'm okay, back to the basics. And that's why I love teaching the basics because I feel like I equate it to I'm teaching someone how to fish rather than giving them a fish, right?
Yep.
So that when they do feel like they're going downhill, it's just a matter of checking back in. And I do this with myself too. I'm not perfect, but
Right.
like I said, I have a really sensitive barometer. And the example that I use with my clients is imagine that you're at a concert hall, right? And it's super loud. Everyone around you is screaming and yelling, and you're getting just so much feedback. It's so loud.
Hmm.
And someone next to you like screams at the top of their lungs, like it's not gonna jar you that much.
Okay.
But take that situation, now you're in your neighborhood and you're going for a nice quiet walk and there's no one around you, and someone comes up behind you and screams in your ear, like you're gonna jump 5 feet in the air. It's
Yes.
gonna startle you. That's what your symptoms do. That's what your body
Mhm.
does to nudge you when you're out of alignment, when you're really clean and in tune with your body. So people will say,
Mhm.
I feel like I'm more sensitive now than I was before I started working with you. Yes, you absolutely are because you're listening now.
Yes.
We've
Yes.
cleaned away so much of the noise that you can
Hmm.
now hear the signals.
And I love that because it ties back to what you were saying with, it is about wellness. It's about wellness. So, yes, and I we should I just said that. I was about
Yeah.
to say we should remove the word should from our vocabulary. hello. But it would be very beneficial if we did, if we take that word out, because we all know there are things I should, could, would be doing. But you're right, like with the example, we don't want to let our bank account get so low before we actually make changes. It would be great if we didn't let our body get to the point. I know better that if I don't get enough sleep in consistent amount of days, I'm not functioning at my best. I'm not the kindest person. I'm not doing the things that I want to be doing. So there's basics that we know that does not take brilliance to figure out how to care for ourselves. But it is so nice to have a place to go to when we don't want to self manage, or we need to be reminded, or we get wrapped up in all the things that are going on that we aren't actually taking that helicopter view of which thing have I let slip to the side. I'm pretty good. I've been doing this and this, and I thought I should be feeling better. It's so nice to have that place to go, the person to talk to, the if you can't work with you one on one, to have the master classes, to have that membership, to have resources to be like, there's something I just can't quite figure out. This one little thing that I should be, that I should, that I, that
Yeah.
could be throwing me off. I really feel for all of us, it's wellness and longevity. We
Yeah.
only get this one life. We could be reincarnated. I don't know. But as of right now, we're here. So, are there things that you want to do with your life? And if we're doing those things and that's wildly fulfilling, great. Let's continue to nurture and take care of ourselves so that we can give even more of that. And if we're not on that path, let's pay attention to how to create a really nice, healthy, long life so I have the time to do these things.
It's really about quality. Like you hit it on the head because it's about quality. And I can't tell you how many clients I start working with in their like 70s. It's really common in their 50s, 60s, 70s, like right after retirement, or they've lost a parent, or they start to see some little things creep up and they're like, maybe I'm not doing everything that I could be doing. I
Yeah.
also see this in mothers, first time mothers, especially like right after they have a kid or two, and they're in their mid 30s and something feels off. Like, what's not working anymore? And it's like these little life changes that
Yeah.
show us that we are mortal.
Yeah.
And I view it like, okay, you have two images in your head, right? There's the little old lady that's in the wheelchair, hunched over, can barely see, is like driving her motorized cart. Is that what you see yourself in your 70s and 80s and beyond?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be that like lady, that 90-year-old that's like doing pull-ups in the gym, rocking out, going on vacation and traveling the world? If I'm going to be alive for another 60 years, I want to enjoy those years. And so if that means I have to invest a little bit of time and energy now to make sure that I can actually enjoy that time later, it's the same as with my bank account, right? Same with my relationship. If I still want to be with my partner in 20, 30, 40 years, then I better start investing in actually building the relationship now instead of just, oh, someday when we're retired,
Right.
find
And
each other.
it's so true because I think it sneaks up on you. I remember, so I'm 52, and when I got into my late 40s, and I was like, that's interesting. Things are starting to sag, and I'm not loving that. And my hormones are all over the place. And oh, this is so different. But I feel like I'm in my 30s. And so it does. I can see where 50s, 60s, and 70s, your brain still feels like you're younger, and then your body starts not doing the things it used to do or not doing it as well. And then it does make you honestly take a look at yourself and say, wait a minute, where did I stop prioritizing myself? And how do I take better care of myself so I can do the things I want to continue to do and have as much fun as I can? And I can see where, at least with me, I took being healthy for granted. I didn't have health issues. In our family, we've been very blessed that way. And I remember I wrote that down. You are not your family history. And I think that's key for people to think about too. It's so easy to look and say, well, in my family, we have this. And you were talking about that with your early history in your family. There was the gut issues and colitis and all of that. We naturally default that to, oh, but in our family, we have this and we have that. We were lucky that we didn't have a lot of health concerns. So I just took it for granted. I didn't have to work out and I didn't have to eat healthy. And then years later, I'm like, wow, it's been decades of not truly putting this as a priority. So, what do I need to do now to reverse that? And I sometimes think we just take our day to day life for granted. This body's taking care of me, and it has, and I don't know any life without it. So, I don't really sit down and start thinking about, is this thing that I'm about to put in my body, is it nurturing my organs? Is it taking care of the things that fuel me? If I do overextend myself for 12 hours at work today, am I going to be kinder to my body and give it that time to rest? I think we're just used to being this one human in this body. We don't take the time to actually separate and think about, okay, what could it use in order to continue to flourish for all this time?
Yeah, I think we tend to dissociate from our body, or a lot of people do, especially a lot of people with chronic disease or pain, because they start to feel like they have no control over it. And again, it just comes, for me, it comes back to education and then intuition, like listening.
Yeah.
But you asked me a question a little bit ago to give three things. And
Mhm.
one of the core things that I would say is learn how to feel your feelings.
Ah.
Because if you don't feel your feelings, those feelings are energy, and that energy moves into your body and it gets stuck
Mm.
wherever you say, I can't feel that anymore. For some people, it's right here. Ladies who suppress their voice, who suppress saying what they need to say, who suppress their tears, their crying, their anger, their frustration, guess what? They end up with thyroid disorders. And a lot of what I do is helping people process through these like stuck emotions or patterns, like conditioning. Like,
Mhm.
because in our family, like we also inherit all this conditioning.
Right.
It's like these false beliefs, this I can't do it or I can do it, right? And if you're so lucky to get conditioned into like an empowerment, good for you. But so many of us were conditioned to just follow the rules. And this is why we have this authoritarian complex with doctors,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
that's what we were told. Listen
Right.
to the rule keepers. And so if we can learn to feel our feelings,
Yes.
it removes an entire layer of potential disease. Because
Oh,
I would say that a lot of disease is emotions that's stuck in the body.
I 100% agree. And what do you think about feel your feelings, but don't dwell in them? Don't get stuck in them, but
Yeah.
definitely feel and process.
Mhm.
Feel, process, and release the feelings.
So it's feel
Uh-huh.
them and don't associate a meaning to them. Don't
Perfect.
make them mean
Good,
something.
good, good.
So I actually have a full, I did a masterclass called Feel just a
Ooh,
month ago, and it was like a 2 day free masterclass.
go check
And
that
then
out.
I have a bigger program. It's called Serenity Key. And
Ooh,
it's really about integrating emotional intelligence with like body wellness and signals and just learning how to be in our system.
uh-huh.
Yeah, so the second thing I would say is for your physical body. I've sat with this for a long time, and for a while I asked myself, I'm like, if we're real in tune with spirit
Mhm.
and mind and emotions, like could we kind of treat our body however we want and still be healthy? Could we eat whatever we want? And what I really came down to was no, because if you're truly in spiritual alignment, mental health, your emotions are clear, you're not going to choose things that are unhealthy. We do that to compensate. So we do
Ah,
that to self-medicate because they give us dopamine and they make us feel good, and we get to ignore what we're actually feeling
yes.
because we're eating the chocolate or we're getting the fast food or we're watching binging Netflix for 4 hours a day. We choose healthier things
Yep.
when we can. So for the physical body, the thing that is just completely game changing to my practice, I've seen it help so many people heal so much faster,
Mhm.
is the Carroll Food Intolerance Evaluation. And that's what I was saying, is that one specialty thing that I actually require anyone that's going to work with me one on one to get it, because
Okay.
I just, everything we do together, I'm going to keep coming back to that.
Yeah,
If there's
I've
any kind
never
of
even heard
physical
of
stuff.
that. Oh, that's that educated
Yeah.
today. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that one's really cool because it's not a lab test. I have it on my website and you can just purchase it. You don't have to work with me. And then
Okay.
I mail the kit out. You collect a small blood sample from your ear, you send it back, I process it, and I usually get your results within a week.
Ooh, I
And then you get
love that.
a whole
Go
portal of
back
like
and listen to that.
education.
Hmm.
What's that?
Go back and listen to that.
Oh,
Okay. Mhm.
yeah. So you get a whole portal of education to learn how to implement it with like meal plans and Q&As, and there's a Facebook group that I monitor and all kinds of things, because just for physical stuff, like I feel like it makes everything else easier or completely unnecessary.
Oh, so
That
good.
would be my number two.
Okay. I love
Yep.
this. I
Yep.
love
Yep.
this. Both of those are brilliant. And I think people need some place to start. It's not like you have to go revamp your whole life today, but especially if you're aging, especially if there's anything going on in your body that you aren't happy with, if you're not feeling healthy and happy and content and energized, okay, what could I do? And these are great places to start. Ooh, I've really enjoyed this. My favorite thing to ask everyone on here, going back to being the one in your life. You have clearly been leading this path well. So I love people to sit and think for just a second, considering now and what's ahead for you. How would you finish this sentence? I am the one who, dot, dot, dot.
So I would say I am the one who gets to create the ripple to for both my life and then to impact others. So if I lead myself in a way that's inspiring, empowering, educational, uplifting, then it will create a ripple that allows others to do the same.
It's so true. I am the one. I am the one who gets to do this specific thing that matters to me. I'm the one who's fulfilling it. I'm putting my flavor and my personality and my gifts and talents into it, and it will ripple out because of that. So, no matter what it is you're doing, you are the one who. Such
Yep.
a pleasure. Such a pleasure. I really hope people will go and find you with your website or on Instagram. Like she was saying, there are resources, there's the membership, there's master classes. Definitely go check her out and get yourself a little support. And there are ways to work with her. And I
Thank
loved
you.
having you on the podcast today.
Ah, so fun. Thank you so
That's so much
much. I
fun.
love it.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again soon.